Hello and a very warm welcome to latest case analysis series by Law Seco. This is Monica Rahar and for today's discussion we have taken up a Supreme Court decision which is dated 26th of October 2020. The name of the case is Ravindran versus the Intelligence Officer, Directorate of Revenue Intelligence. It is a three-judge bench decision consisting of Honorable Justice UU Lalit, Justice Mohan M. Shantanagodar and Justice Vineet Saran. Now let's proceed and understand the issue of law. So the court was to decide whether subsequent filing of final report or the additional complaint or even a report seeking extension of time by state can defeat indefeasible right of default bail to an accused who availed himself of this right. Now, as we proceed further with the case analysis, this issue of law will be easier for us to understand. So let's proceed with the brief facts of the matter. The appellant he was arrested and remanded to judicial custody for allegedly committing offences punishable under section 8C read with section 22C, section 23C and section 25A along with section 29 of the NDPS Act. Now, after completion of 180 days in custody, the appellant filed for bail under Section 167, subsection 2 of the CRPC before the Special Court for Exclusive Trial of the NDPS cases. And the ground which was taken up by the appellant before the trial court was the incompletion of investigation even after the passage of 180 days coupled with the fact that the charge sheet was yet not filed, and the trial court thus granted the order of bail pending before it. Now, when this order of bail was granted, the respondent, or to say the complainant, which is the Intelligence Officer, Directorate of Revenue Intelligence, it moved a plea before the Madras High Court praying to cancel the order of bail of appellant. And the High Court allowed this plea and the bail order was thus cancelled. Now, aggrieved by this decision of the High Court, the appellant in the present case approached the Supreme Court. Now, having understood it, the brief facts, let's proceed with the reasoning and decision of the court. So, the court stated that the appellant exercises option to obtain bail by filing an application on 181st day of his arrest, and this application was taken up by the court immediately right after it opened up. So, in the morning, this case was before the court. The public prosecutor did not file any prior application for seeking extension of time for investigating in the appellant's case. And he, in fact, argued the bail matter on the very same day, and he did not file any prior application which sought extension of time for investigation. And the additional complaint which against the appellant which is filed by the intelligence officer, or to say which was lodged by the state, it was lodged subsequent to the conclusion of the arguments in bail application, and this was done, the court noted, in order to defeat the indefeasible right of the appellant to get bail, and if such a practice is allowed, right under section 167 subsection 2 would be rendered redundant. And why would it be rendered redundant or futile? Because then investigating officers could drag their heels, that is, they could slowly proceed with the case as they wish to or desire to. So the investigating officer, they could drag their heels till the accused exercises his right and could conveniently file an additional complaint including the accused's name as soon as the bail application is taken up for disposal. And while framing, the court noted that while refraining from commenting on the merits of the complaint can be on flimsy grounds or made to keep accused detained in custody. Therefore, irrespective of the seriousness of the offense or reliability of evidence, filing additional complaints merely to circumvent default bail application, it is an improper strategy. The court further noted that the appellant was deemed to have availed of his indefeasible right to bail the moment he filed the bail application, and he also offered to abide by the terms and conditions of the bail order, and he was entitled, therefore, to be released on bail, notwithstanding the subsequent filing of an additional complaint. Once the accused files a bail application under proviso to section 167 subsection 2, he is deemed to have availed himself or enforce his right to be released on default bail accruing to him after expiry of the stipulated time limit for investigation. Now, here we need to understand one thing that the court stated that if the accused applies for bail under section 167 subsection 2 of the CRPC, read with section 36A subsection 4 then of the NDPS Act, then upon expiration of 180 days or the extended period which is sought by the state, court must release him on bail without any unnecessary delay after getting necessary information from the public prosecutor. And right of the default bail continues if the accused applied for such bail, notwithstanding these following factors. The first being notwithstanding the pendency of the bail application, subsequent filing of charge sheet, filing of report seeking extension of time by prosecution before the court, and filing of charge sheet during the interim period when the challenge to rejection of bail application is pending before a higher court. Now, here is an interesting finding. The court noted, however, where accused fails to apply for a default bail, that is, the accused has not applied for a default bail, and subsequently, in absence of any such application, a charge sheet or an additional complaint or even a report seeking extension of time is preferred before a magistrate, then the right to default bail would be extinguished. The magistrate would be at liberty to take cognizance of the case or grant further time for investigation, though the accused may still be released on bail under other provisions of the CRPC. Therefore, the court held, notwithstanding the order of default bail passed by court by virtue of explanation 1 to section 167 subsection 2, actual release of accused from custody is contingent, that is, it is conditioned on directions passed by the competent court granting the bail. If the accused fails to furnish the bail, or comply with terms and condition of bail order within the time which is stipulated by the court, his continued detention in custody is valid. The court directed the appellant additionally to surrender his passport and undertake to report to respondent, and also to not leave Chennai without the leave of the trial court. So essentially these were the additional conditions which were imposed by the Supreme Court on the bail of which was granted to the appellant, in addition to the conditions which were imposed by the trial court. Thus, needless to say, the court impugned the judgment of the High Court of Madras and set it aside, and the trial court judgment was confirmed. Now, what we need to extract from this entire case analysis is that in this case, after the completion of 180 days, the appellant he applied for a bail application, and before such an application of bail, no time for further investigation was sought by the state. However, right after the hearing of his bail application was complete and the bail was granted, the state filed an additional complaint against the appellant. That is, his name was mentioned in another case or another complaint which was filed by the state, and or to say the complainant respondent. And here the observation of the Supreme Court were made, which were to the following effect: that right to default bail, it continues if the applicant has availed himself of such a right by applying before the court if the accused applied for such bail, notwithstanding the pendency of the bail application or the subsequent filing of charge sheet or filing of a report seeking extension of time, or even filing of a charge sheet during the interim when the challenge to rejection of the bail application is pending before a higher court. So that's all we have. At the end of the note, you may find a list of abbreviations which we have used in the note. Thank you for being with us.